The views and opinions expressed on any program are those of the producers and/or the persons appearing on the program and do not necessarily reflect the views and opinions of FRC Media, Bristol Community College, or the City of Fall River.
Well, hello. Welcome to Spindle City Straight Talk. I'm Chip.
And I'm CJ.
And your volume, oh, you don't have your mic in place.
I have it in place now.
Yeah, now your volume's fine. Live TV.
Live TV, what can you do?
All right, well, we'll lead with the big one. Behind the wheel, put down your phone, hands-free law takes effect Sunday. Everybody be careful. The state's looking to make a lot of money, so maybe you might get pulled over.
Hey, it's $100 for the first offense.
First offense.
$250 for the second offense, plus a class, a distracted driving class.
Right, yeah.
And $500 for the third, a distracted driving class again, and surcharges on your insurance.
Surcharge, that's a big one. That means 5 years or 6 years on your insurance.
That's right, 6 years.
So now for junior operators, 16 and a half to 18, first offense is a $100 fine, a 60-day loss of license, and a required retraining class. Second offense, the $250, 180-day suspension of license. Third is a third or subsequent offense, $500, and a 1-year loss of license. So what you need to do is use
your headsets.
Use your headset.
Or if the Bluetooth's built into your car, like
yeah, only one touch or one swipe is allowed to activate GPS. No longer can manually dial a phone number or enter a GPS location while driving. So what is recommended? Program your GPS before you drive. Call or text anyone before you depart. And if you have an iPhone, go to settings and enable Do Not Disturb while driving. If you have an Android, download the Drive Mode app and whatever. Well, bottom line is long overdue.
Rhode Island's had it for a while.
Actually, yesterday, or the day before yesterday, I was going up to Seekonk, down toward the grist mill, toward 44, when I went to Greg's for my Death by Chocolate.
Let's not talk about that.
I knew that'd get you, but, and I got off the highway, and there was an SUV, a high-end SUV, that had about, 4 or 5 cars behind her, and she was driving like 5 miles an hour, and a few of the cars finally veered off, and when I got to the light, I saw she was actually texting and moving at like 5 or 6 miles an hour, holding up all kinds of traffic.
Right.
And these are the kind of people that cause accidents, and unfortunately, they don't get injured. Somebody else gets injured. So this is long overdue. But the thing is that they do this, and on the other hand, segues us into our next one.
Well, before you go into the next one, the thing is this law is only going to be effective as the enforcement. And sadly, I was listening to the radio on the way in, which I do often, and they were talking about how they don't think the Fall River Police will enforce it. They firmly believe that the Fall River Police will not enforce. They don't enforce stop sign violations. They don't enforce red light violations. Why would they start enforcing this? So, and I mean, this is what people were saying on the radio. So if they're saying this on the radio, what do they have to look for? Are we really going to have any enforcement? I mean, you've got people smoking marijuana in their cars. Police cars are right behind them, and nobody stops them.
Yeah,
they're smoking right there. They're violating the law, but they're doing it anyways. They're operating under the influence.
And, the other thing that disturbs me, like everything else, that it's going to be discretionary enforcement.
Correct.
If they stop somebody that is politically connected, or they know, it's like, oh, well, see you later. They maybe won't even stop them. And that's the problem with a lot of these laws. We see laws being indiscriminately applied. We see laws not being applied. And then we see laws being manipulated because of whatever reason politically. I mean, look at all the controversy going on with Roger Stone. Now, every legal expert that I've seen has said that that sentence was grossly harsh, and it was political retaliation. And they talked about the formula that judges use, and I guess the Attorney General came up with a formula that kind of fit the crime. But that's one of the problems when you begin to use laws for political retaliation, when you're using and not applying laws unilaterally. So that's the thing that, that's the thing that gets me. And then segue into Massachusetts legislators going to do traffic law violation cameras at intersections. Then they go into these statistics, and this is what gets me. According to the Insurance Institute for Highway Safety,
The people who make the money.
yeah, that's right. It's going to make them money, and just like these fines are going to make them money, and they're going to make insurance companies who give many dollars to their campaigns money. So don't you think that the driving schools and the insurance companies with the surcharges are going to love this?
Right.
And but then it goes on to say 890 people were killed in 2017 in crashes involving vehicles running a red light, and another 132,000 were injured in red light running. And obviously there are 217. Then a group said in 2003 they're using data from that. Of course, they're going to use the data with the worst
Of course.
scenario. They're going back to 03 and 20 to justify this. But you know what disturbs me? This is the same legislature that legalized pot.
No, they didn't legalize it. The voter legalized it.
Yeah, but
This is the legislation that wrote the rules.
The vote is also listen. But yeah, and you're right. But that's a definition that is a finite point that I don't agree with, because the problem is it shows why our legislature isn't truly a legislature. Because if they were truly representative of the people, they only approve that because it means money. They didn't approve it because the people wanted it. Remember, the people voted for capital punishment. Remember, the people voted for a tax cut. Do you remember that?
Yeah,
And did they do it? No. They did not do it. They did not do it. So if they're going to plead that they did this because the people directed them to do it, I want them to explain to me why they didn't cut the sales tax rate when we voted to do it.
God forbid. God forbid.
Well, see, that's the problem. Hypocrisy. That is the word that you can use to talk about all politics. Hypocrisy. Because that's what they are. They're walking, talking giant hypocrites, because it's all they do. They have a double standard for enforcing laws. Everything they do is manipulated for their own political and personal gain. So forgive me if I'm not really, stuff like this, just, it's not the fact that I'm all in favor of safety. I've seen a whole bunch of people running red lights. I've seen people ignore stop signs, and I've been in near accidents because I do pay attention. And a lot of motorcyclists are killed every year, and I'm a motorcyclist. So the fact is that people blow red lights, and if you want to survive on a motorcycle, you have to learn to never go through a green light just because it's green. You got to be prepared to stop when you go through an intersection or an intersection with a stop sign, because if a motor vehicle, some idiot blows the stop sign on a red light, you're going to be roadkill.
Yeah, well,
and that's one of the reasons that statistically most of the people killed in motorcycle accidents are people who just got who have only had their motorcycle license a few years because they think they're in a car. Green light, I'm going to go. So if you run a green light, if you go through a green light and somebody T-bones you, you got a 50-50 chance, or maybe even better than that, of surviving, because now they got side airbags, front airbags. You're in a vehicle. You got some protection. If you're on a motorcycle, you're dead. Period. You know, you're dead or you're permanently disabled. So look, I'm a great advocate of safety, and I fully agree with this hands-free law, and I would like to see violation cameras.
Well, what would be interesting with the violation cameras is they can only, the tickets are $25 for each violation. And the cities can only obtain enough money to pay for the camera's installation. They can't use it to gain income. After they've paid for the cameras, the money goes to the state, to the traffic, I forgot what.
Of course it does.
Right, of course.
Of course it does. They're passing the law, they're going to get the money.
But the thing is that there's no surcharge attached to it. And you put that at the intersection of Rodman and Plymouth Avenue, and you will clean house. They'll have those cameras paid for in a week.
Well, look, I mean, you drive around Fall River, you'll see it every day. The other day, coming up Eastern Avenue, at Eastern Avenue, New Boston Road, I was coming up Eastern Avenue, heading north, and there was a guy came blowing by me at about 60 and at 40, maybe 65 or 70. Light turned red. He was a good 50 yards away from the intersection when it turned red. But there was nobody showing coming from the New Boston Road. Guess what he did?
He blew right through it.
He blew right through that red light like it wasn't there. He didn't even slow down, didn't even touch his brakes, didn't do anything. And this is the problem. We have people that are, and now, like I said, it disturbs me because while they do stuff like this, and if it avoids one accident, that's great.
And if it avoids one death,
but they
even better.
allow people now to get on the road with marijuana. They legalize marijuana, not just for medicinal purposes. And there's still, I know they're developing a test, but you know, again, the hypocrisy of our legislators is just incredible. But sometimes they do the right thing for the wrong reason. They're looking for money.
No.
Yeah. Well, like I said, where's the money going to go? Oh, you know, the voters wanted to, you know, the voters want us to do something, but we only do what the voters want. It's kind of like the Democrat Party. We'll only nominate the person that they want if we want them. Although now there's all kinds of, it looks like Bernie's blowing the field away. So we get a little national politics, but it looks like Bernie is just rolling over him like a steamroller. I'll tell you what, there's going to be a real mess at the Democratic convention.
Oh yeah, it's going to be interesting.
If it's a contested convention and the super delegates bounce Bernie out, there's going to be, I'll tell you, that may actually destroy the party.
Well, they did it last time.
Well, they said they were going to do it, and
right.
Ultimately the way it worked out. But I mean, now it's pretty obvious. You know, Bloomberg. I mean, that was hysterical. I'm waiting for Saturday Night Live to do a skit on that debate.
Oh, you know, there's got to be one Saturday.
Talk about somebody self-destructing.
Yeah.
I mean, he looked like, I'll tell you, it was horrible. That is arguably the worst debate performance I've ever seen by someone who was supposed to be a politician.
He looked like he got hit with a crap pie more often than not.
And I mean, and the thing was, there was talk before the debate how of course he's got more money than God. But there was talk before that debate about the high-powered team he hired to prep him for the debate, and how he was, you know, he was all set. And boy, I'll tell you, right from the get-go, from the opening salvo, he looked like a deer in the headlights. His answers were just, and it kind of showed a little bit of his personality, which is he's not a good people person. And, you know, one thing about politicians, they have to have that unique ability to make you think they like you, even though they don't care about you and dislike you. So he doesn't have that ability. It's pretty apparent that he's not a good people person.
Well, on Saturday, his Fall River office is going to have a problem because they're planning on picketing the Fall River office from 12 to 2.
Who's picketing?
Occupy Fall River. And they're asking all the other candidates who have people in the area to send them down to picket the...
Are they still alive? That Occupy movement
so.
started how many years ago?
I guess so, because...
And what is the reason for the protest?
Because he's anti-woman, anti-black, anti-Latino. He's not going to make a good...
Yeah, but he said that was a while ago.
They don't care.
You know, and they all signed non-disclosure agreements,
That's
which
right.
were personally.
And he's not letting them out of them.
Like I said, what a disastrous. You know, I mean, I think the best characterization of what happened at that debate was, I don't know which channel it is, because I go through, I watch them all to see, you know, the different spins they all try to put on everything that's happened. But one reporter characterized it as when the Wizard of Oz was exposed. Remember in the Wizard of Oz, this great and powerful Oz, and somebody got behind a curtain and they saw this little guy running all the
It was
switches.
Toto who went behind the curtain.
That's right, Toto went behind, but she went after him.
That's right.
And she saw who the Wizard of Oz was. Dorothy saw who the Wizard of Oz was. But, and he was nothing like the image, so. But that doesn't, you know, I truly believe, and this is my opinion, let's see if I'm kind of right. He's not out of this race.
And not by any means.
Because even though that was the most watched Democrat presidential debate, because he was in it, I think that the majority, unfortunately, of the electorate, as we always talk about on the show, they don't do their homework. They watch TV. He's already spent over $400 million on TV ads. Every time you turn something on, there's a TV ad. Even when I turn my phone on, if I go on YouTube, I get a Bloomberg ad. But hey, it is what it is. So it's going to. I don't think he's going to be out of this race. He's going to be in it as long as he's a billionaire, and he's a billionaire, and he's going to stay a billionaire. So. He'll be in this race until he decides he doesn't want to do it anymore, not because anybody else pushes him out. He's got enough money not to pay attention. But now we get back to local politics and local political machinations. We always talk about hirings and patronage and nepotism. And remember a while ago when we broke the story about improper campaign contributions when something was left under a windshield wiper?
Yes, we do.
Yes, we do. You took a lot of heat for that one, CJ.
I know.
Did too. You know, I did too, but it was like people leave us information, and we're, you know, since it is the very fabric of politics and what we talk about here all the time, I think it's I got a letter in the mail, nondescript envelope. I was checking to see if there was any white powder in it when I first opened it up. You know, or a bomb. I listened to see if it was ticking. Because I see letters like this. It's normally either that or some real estate guy saying, do you want to sell your house? And you know, or some letter about if you pass this on, you'll be rewarded. If you don't, you're going to die in 2 days or something like that. But again, it was someone who apparently was not happy giving us a political tip. And I did confirm that this hiring actually took place, and we all harken back to the history of the ice house guard being hired for DCM, and we all know that people who are connected get jobs whether they're qualified or not. And I don't know if this individual's qualified. I've been doing a little bit of poking. I haven't had a lot of time since I got it last night. But they said that this person is qualified, but it's an entry-level position, which that's what really smacks of the problem here that I see and CJ sees. And
we confirmed it. It's been confirmed.
Oh, it's been, I know, yeah, we've confirmed it. Yeah, the hire was made. But this is what the letter I got, which is only a line, a long line. No, actually, it's 2 sentences. I'm sorry. It is 2 sentences. And this is what it says. I will leave the name out of the individual because this individual's already gotten, you know, and I'm a firm believer in allowing people to see if they can do the job, but obviously, they'll never get out from the way the hiring was created because there's a process. And this is what this letter said. Please look into the new hire by Mary Sahadi in the finance department. Cliff and Shawn had her hire the wife of a selectman in Seekonk. Her name is, and I'm not going to give her the name. I'm not going to give the name. I'll leave that up to you detectives out there. And I'm not sure if this is accurate. We know the hiring is accurate, but anything else I'm not sure of. She has only been in the country for a year. How they know that, I have no idea, unless they work for ICE. With 0 financial experience, which is probably true, and lives in Seekonk. Well, the hell with the residency requirement, right? And then the sentence is ended with, Fall River residents need not apply. Politics as usual. So again, why are these things? And I think you and I were discussing yesterday, this could be a violation of the ethics.
Well, especially when you consider who put this person out there. And, you know, there's other rumors going around, which I have no problem exposing because I believe they happened. So we have 2 city councilors,
Yeah.
Cliff Ponte and Shawn Cadime, who
by the way, is a town manager of Seekonk.
Right.
And who is doing a favor for a selectman.
Gets better, doesn't it?
You know, so that makes it even worse. Because now we got 2 communities involved in
right
in a political machination. And that's disturbing because look, and I did have a conversation with people and they said, well, they made a call. Well, you know, we have ears and eyes everywhere. And I told them, listen, I wouldn't have a problem if either of those individuals said to her, or even Shawn to her husband, who obviously he knows, and who votes on his contract, I assume, which is another ethical violation, right? We got a lot of stuff here. But if they would have said, feel free to put my name on your application as a reference, that might be a perceived kind of extortion and violation of the ethics. But I think actually going out and endorsing this person for a hire, and I also got a rumor that that our interim city administrator / CFO actually,
which is also a violation ethically.
Which is also, but walked her down to where she was going to work and made sure everybody knew that she was recommended by 2 city councilors, which is a violation of the ethics, as far as I'm concerned.
Right.
Too. And I know there will be complaints filed on this.
Oh, of course.
Without a doubt.
Of course.
Probably,
if they haven't been filed already.
They haven't been filed already. And like I said, and the thing about this is it's disturbing because whoever wrote this thing, and I don't know who wrote it, and I'm not saying this individual can't do the job, But with all the unemployment in Fall River and our great economic development push, you're telling me that someone couldn't have taken an entry-level position? There's nobody in the city of Fall River that wouldn't have taken that job. We got BCTC, the training consortium, these people are out. We have outreach, we have job fairs supposedly. Why doesn't the city post this on their city website? Why don't they make an aggressive action to try to hire someone from Fall River? It was inappropriate at best and a violation of the state ethics law. At least it is, in my opinion, but I guess the Ethics Commission will have to decide that. But
They never issue a decision.
I know, but it's not right. And I'm not sure if the town of Seekonk would really take kindly to know what's going on.
Why? The selectman's wife got a job. What does he care?
Yeah, how about the other selectmen?
Yeah, well,
Maybe they got wives or kids they want to get it. Well, maybe again that might be starting a trend.
That's right.
Maybe we'll employ half of Seekonk.
There you go.
We can't get Fall River to work, but maybe we can get Seekonk to work.
right.
We can lower their unemployment rate.
Unbelievable, isn't it?
But it is. And these are the kind of things we get. You know, we don't make these things up, and it's not only rumor. We do get a lot of phone calls, and we do get a lot of information, because I know that there's been a lot of things thrown around the 6th floor on numerous occasions yelling, where did these guys find this out?
Oh, yeah.
Well, we do.
Like I told somebody once before, we have bugs everywhere.
That's right.
And they're crawling all over the place and gathering our information.
I remember one time we got a call that they were yelling because we were talking about what they were talking about at that same time. That's how
Exactly.
much information we were getting.
Yeah.
How are they getting this information? Virtually simultaneously. But look, and whoever wrote this has a good point. Fall River people need not apply. I mean, it's wrong. And I don't have any animus toward this individual. I don't even know.
Right.
But it bothers me when this kind of stuff happens, and we know it happens. But it's bad enough when politically connected Fall River people get jobs. But when it's ironic that most of the jobs we've seen lately that have been going to people, they're out of towners. The ice house guard was from Woonsocket, right, or Pawtucket.
Or something like that, yeah.
One of those. And we have people from out of town getting these jobs. And now when we got a selectman, there's a question of collusion. Selectman, town manager, city councilor, job.
And it's not just a city council, it's a city council president. There's a big difference.
But the city council president is not employed in Seekonk, though.
No,
the other guy.
But what I'm saying is, when you look at this, because the city council president is technically over Shawn Cadime. I mean, they're equal in the sense of they're both city councilors, but the city council president has a little more authority than Shawn Cadime does. And so when you, as the city council president, call the person who's hiring this person and say, you know, I recommend that you hire them. That's like the chief of police turning around saying, "I recommend that."
Yeah.
You know.
Exactly. It's like in a military. If the general walks in and says, "I recommend everybody contribute to the United Way," who's not going to contribute to the United Way?
Right.
That's why the Ethics Commission prohibits stuff like this. It's like in the fire department. Years ago, we used to have a priest come down from Canada and solicit donations, and you got a St. Florian medal, who was the patron saint of the fire service. But it was wrong. And of course, you know who had to be the guy that created all the problems. I did, because we actually had someone who was not a Catholic, and on a job, he was a new hire, and they used to make everybody go downstairs and have two district chiefs stand in a room, and basically, just by their mere presence, it's intimidation and an attempt at coercion. And who didn't buy a St. Florian medal? So I refused to go down, and then I got in a big row with the chief at the time. I was only a lieutenant at the time. And I told them I'm not going to go down. I'm giving you a direct order. I said, you can't give me that order because it's got nothing to do with the fire department. It's got to do with religious freedom. And needless to say, I prevailed, and now they make those kind of things voluntary, which they should be. I don't have any problem with them, but let's treat everybody fairly. And all you people who wanted that job, who would have taken that job, by all means, call City Hall.
Hey, we'll see you on Monday. Thanks for watching. Have a great weekend.